says it for a lot of us. Captains through 4 Stanley Cup champions. A lot of hard times. A lot of good times. That's the commemorative pennant that each one of the fans received tonight as a memento for this festivity that is about to take part. Let's go now to join Lee Ziedman. 3. The shots on goal in the third period by the Capitals 8, by the Islanders 4. Look at the shots on goal. 38 for Washington, 18 for the New York Islanders. It was 5-2 at the end of the second period. Alan Kerr scored his 22nd goal of the season from Trottier and Norton, a power play goal at 5:03. Then Christensen scored his 27th at 8:06, and the final goal was Derek King from Kerr at 11:44. That rounded out the score at 7-3. The Budweiser play of the game, take a look at it. The Islanders were in trouble just for a while in the third period. Mike Gardner puts the puck in front of the net. Who clears it? There's Denis Potvin, the defenseman, playing in his 543rd home game, clearing the puck. The Budweiser play of the game. As the fans were at the beginning of the hockey game, they're still revved up here. The play of the game, the Budweiser play of the game again. Denis Potvin. Islanders doing quite a number on the Washington Capitals stand, Fischler. In 7-3, they took charge very early.
Well, Ed, this was the kind of game you'd have a hard time getting a Hollywood scriptwriter to write better than this one. Everybody wondering how the club would respond on Denis Potvin night, and a 4-goal cushion over the Capitals is really something, and the team being in first place and doing that, I just think it was an extraordinary effort every way around, from goaltending, defense, on out to the shooters.
Kind of an honest moment for Denis. They're flashing a lot of his statistics on the metrics board. In center ice, there's a picture of Denis. He and Henri Richard tied with 180 playoff games. And several other statistics that belong to the highest scoring defenseman in the National Hockey League in its history. Let's go down and join our cohort, Jiggs McDonald.
As of tonight, 1,057 games, 542 of them here at the Nassau Coliseum. But it seems like just yesterday that Denis Potvin stepped on this ice to begin one of the greatest careers in NHL history. As you saw, he was drafted number 1 in 73, excuse me, if only it were 83, Denny. And that number 1 still fits as he leads all NHL defensemen in goals, assists, and points, both in regular and postseason play. Denis Potvin, throughout his career, has meant so much to not only the New York Islanders and the National Hockey League, but to Long Island as well. He has just played, as you know, his final game on this ice in the regular season, and now we'd like to have him step out here once more. Ladies and gentlemen, Denis Potvin. tribute to Denis continues. It's my pleasure at this time, becoming commonplace here, to introduce the president and general manager of the New York Islanders, Mr. Bill Torrey.
Thank you very much. First of all, how about a hand for the whole team tonight? Stick with them. With your help, who knows what can happen. Now it's my pleasure to bring out here to give Denis a little support. First of all, his lovely wife, Valerie. Valerie? Making a long trip from Ottawa. Been here before. Lucille, his mother, Mrs. Potvin. And there's Denis' brother Robert. Denis, I have here, speaking of the city of Ottawa, I have here a plaque. Oh, always a steam stealer. Here's his brother, Johnny. Denis, while I'm mentioning the city of Ottawa, I have here something to read to you from the Mayor of Ottawa, His Honorable James A. Durrell. There have always been a very special bond between the people of Ottawa and Denis Potvin. Ever since he joined the Ottawa 67s as a very young boy, he captivated the hearts and imaginations of hockey fans in the nation's capital. Ottawans who watched the young Denis Potvin were fortunate. They were able to see the young boy move into manhood on and off the ice. As Denis Potvin the Jr. became Denis Potvin, the National League hockey superstar, the people of Ottawa transferred their allegiance and all their attentions to Long Island and the New York Islanders. On behalf of the Council and the people of Ottawa, I congratulate Denis Potvin for his outstanding achievements and for the man that he is. From the Mayor of Ottawa, James A. Durrell. Before we move on, Denis, and I know you're going to be busy until probably about the 1st of June. But when we get those important matters all taken care of, to give you a little respite, we've arranged for you and Valerie to take a trip to Scotland and do a little fishing. Enjoy yourself. That's from John and Robert. ticket.
As you know, Denny Potvin began his career here at the Coliseum on the night of October 13th, 1973. He went on to score 37 assists, 17 goals that year, good enough to be the Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy winner. As they say, you can't do it alone, and Denny would be the first to admit that he had quite a cast supporting help that year. And we have with us tonight some of those teammates from your first season in the NHL. This guy played 5 seasons with Denny, 476 games as a New York Islander. Here's good old number 2, Jerry Hart. This next original Islander played 596 games in an Islander uniform, was a teammate of Denny Potvin's for 7 seasons. He wore number 8. You remember the toy tiger, Gary Howitt. From that first team that Denny played with going back to 1973. This individual played 900 games. I don't have to tell you about his career, but for 12 seasons a teammate, for the past 2, his assistant coach, Bobby Nystrom. Teammate of Denny's for every game that he has played as a New York Islander, with no intentions of retiring, number 31, Billy Smith. This next individual played 493 games as a New York Islander. When Denis Potvin arrived on the scene, he was the team captain and a teammate of Denis for 5 seasons, Eddie Westfall. The year that Denis Potvin arrived on Long Island, so did another individual coming from employment with both St. Louis and the Atlanta Flames. His team called him Radar. He was Denny's coach for 13 seasons. Here's Al Arbor. Throughout those Stanley Cup winning years, so much was written and said about the career of Denis Potvin, his teammates. He was regarded as the cornerstone of what the Islanders went on to accomplish, and one of the individuals who helped him complete so many, many great moments in his career, number 19, Brian Trottier. There are several former teammates from that 1973 team who send their regrets, unavoidably unable to be here this evening. But now we have a very special announcement, and for that I'm going to call upon Mr. Bill Torrey.
Thank you very much, Jiggs. I'd like to read to you a press release. As of a very short while ago, we have arranged, through cooperation of the Nassau County, which owns this building, and the Hyatt Management Company that manages it, that starting next year, hopefully we'll complete it over the summer, that we will start the New York Islanders Hockey Hall of Fame. This Hall of Fame will be located just to the left as you come down the escalators at the center part of the building through the front doors, down the escalators to the left-hand side. We will construct in there the Islanders Hockey Hall of Fame. To inaugurate this, Denis, if you'd please take off that jersey. Your jersey will be the first one to win that in that room. Those who have been honored by a night here, Denis Potvin was the first, just as he was, as so many of you know, really the first piece of the cornerstone of our franchise and the success that's followed. Following there, of course, already honored, our former coach, and now permanent golfer Al Arbor will also go in. So Denis, I take this jersey. This is one for you to wear for about the next 6 weeks through the playoffs. Just so that you won't have one at home, here's something for you to hang in your house. I've said enough, Denis, and certainly you've done enough. 6 more weeks, and one of the great careers ever in the history of the National Hockey League will come to a close. It's been my privilege to be a small part of it. Thanks, Denis.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. I really don't know, I guess I do know where to start. This is really my retirement, but I still have a job to do for the next couple of months. And along with my teammates, we're going to be there. When I look at 4 Stanley Cup banners, I just don't think that's enough before I go. I have so many people to thank, but I want to start with my teammates. I want to start with thanking sincerely my teammates 1987, 1988. I'll tell you, the thought of going out in style means being surrounded by class acts, and I think this 1987-88 team is a class team and one that's going to go a long way. I know that down the road, I'm going to be awfully proud to have been a member of that club. Thanks. Terry Simpson, Bob Nystrom, thank you. Craig Smith, Jim Piggott, the best two. The best two trainers in the league. I have to say that I have had a lot of accomplishments. I can't be too humble up here. It's not my reputation. But I have to look at the 4 Stanley Cup teams as the greatest players I've ever played with. And to all of them who are here now and who are somewhere else in North America, I want to thank them from the deepest of my heart, because these people sacrificed and they gave all they had for Stanley Cups. I was happy to see Mr. Ziegler here tonight. Mr. Ziegler, I've always respected you, and I'm so proud to have been a member of the National Hockey League for this many years. It's given me an arena to express myself on the ice. I thank you. The New York Islander organization has been my family for 15 years. I grew up with the Islanders, and I'm now moving away as a man. I'm like leaving the nest, but I think I'm well prepared. They've made sure of that. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderfully supportive cast for me throughout my career. Without your support, I'm not so sure that all of this could have been possible for me or my teammates. But I'm proud to say that in leaving behind all of you, I feel quite comfortable in the hands of my wife and my family, who now will be my new supporting cast in a world that I'm not too sure about. I'm sure that I'll see all of you at some point or another. And for you, those of you who I am not going to see, thank you so much for your help. You've been great.
And Denny coming up behind you, not in uniform this season, but here is Michael Bossy.
This performance, I thought it was tender, I thought it was tasteful, I thought it was classy, and I thought that Denis Potvin just articulated his position so well, just the way he articulated the game of hockey. He's now doing a tour of the rink, and the fans are giving him what he so richly deserves, and that is just an enthusiastic round of applause. Denny not missing anybody in the rink. It's as if he'd like to get everybody into the act with him. Now turning, waving, trying to include every corner of Nassau Coliseum. It's just been a magnificent tribute to Denis, and Denis himself offered a wonderful speech. It was spontaneous. He didn't read it. He just went right through it. Came from the bottom of his heart. Now he's coming back to his former teammates and his brother, family. Mother here from Ottawa.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attendance this evening. We look forward to seeing you Wednesday night for the opening game of the Stanley Cup final.
Denis now going up and down the matting. His wife is still out there, Valerie. Teammate, former teammate Bobby Nystrom, now his assistant coach. By the way, I thought Jiggs McDonald emceed an excellent show, which is no surprise. Denny now making his way toward the dressing room with his wife, Valerie. Michael Bossy there. And as they take off, it was a magnificent night. So once again,
7-3 win. Really, the game not in question in the third period, but the score could have been much higher from the Washington side of things. A couple of defensive gems from Denis Potvin in his last home game. Let's go back to the first period and take a look at a sliding block. Recall it for me.
Right, we were killing the penalty here, and I knew the position of their players, but when Gardner got around, there was a block there. I knew I was fighting a 2-on-1 situation. And I figure if I go down, I'm blocking the pass and maybe blocking the shot. And as it was, I forced Gardner to put the puck in my pads, and it turned out to be a good play.
There were a couple of other times later on where you blocked the puck over in the far side. And one I recall in the third period, it went right into the goal mouth with Kelly Rudy and fished out a loose puck.
Yeah, again, it was Gardner who got the puck wide and is pulling Gardner out. Now, I'm going to let him shoot, you see, because I figured Kelly's going to use it, be able to stop it. But once he gets around Kelly, then it's my job to get rid of that puck. And I got there just in time.
Now, the crowd in the response afterward, in the ceremonies, chanting "One more cup."
Yes,
one more cup.
You know, I couldn't help but look around, and I found the 4 banners for the Stanley Cups, and those are really what made my career. I really don't put any other successes or individual awards in the same class as those Stanley Cups, because, as I said, to me, what was most important was seeing the people I played with sacrifice so much for the win, and we all really dug deep down for those victories, and none of them were easy, but they were all extremely satisfying, and I felt that I played with a group of people that I will respect and love the rest of my life.
Coming back to tonight's game, the last few minutes, 7-3 lead. We put a camera on you, isolated on you for the last 30 seconds, and we're just wondering what your thoughts were at that particular time as we take a look at the video here, and finally you going back to the bench.
Well, thinking, what, am I racing for the bench now? Well, at this point, Kelly was calling for the puck, and I'm really at this point kind of, you know, letting out some hot air, and I'm figuring, God, this is it. We've really done it. And I think that as important as anything, ending in first place in my last season is going to be one of the great victories for our club. And this young 87-88 team, I think, has got the talent, potential, and more importantly, the character that I saw 10 years ago in a young Islander team.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think a lot of the fans, too, that have seen the team get off to that great start, then the roller coaster ride during the season, up and down, and collectively coming together here in the last 6 games.
Jiggs, I feel so mellow right now. It is so great. I wish people could feel what I'm feeling now. I think that if one could live in this kind of a body for a little while with these emotions, it would be Shangri-La.
The emotions at the bench when Denny went back to the bench. Let's relive those just for a moment. It's all over.
Well, I figured let's just soak it in, Denis, you know. I mean, there it is. I was looking up at the scoreboard, and when, I guess when I pumped there was when it said that I scored more points than any other defenseman in the National Hockey League. And I think finally there's a record by a defenseman that is mine and only mine.
We've talked about dreams. Any that weren't fulfilled?
You know, I tell you, there's no way that I could not have fulfilled all of my dreams. I came into the National Hockey League expecting a lot, but nothing like what we've accomplished. I mean, it's been unbelievable. And, you know, the timing is perfect. I came in, my brother was here. I couldn't have asked for a better start. I came in with one of the strongest organization ever. Montreal Canadiens, probably the premier organization in the history of the game, has now a close second in the New York Islander organization led by Bill Torrey and Al Arbor, the coaching staff and the scouting staff. These guys have built a real gem, and that helped me along incredibly.
You leave the game now having established high water marks, things for young people to try and accomplish, to try and reach. Congratulations on a great career. On behalf of everyone at Sports Channel, and I'm going to take it back, we'll have it engraved, but this crystal bowl is for you with our deepest appreciation, not only for the many visits and the great guest that you've been, but the great memories that you've provided and the legacy that you've left.
Well, Jiggs, thank you very much, and you've been so kind in describing my play and actually making me feel good. Thank you.
We'll fill it for you with one of the sponsors' products in just a moment. Thank you, Denis.
Thanks, Jiggs.
Let's go back to the studios and join Lee Ziedman.
Thanks, Jig. Congratulations, Denis. Well, Denis Potvin does have some work.
Potvin became an Islander in 1973. He arrived at Nassau Coliseum riding the crest of one of the NHL's biggest build-ups. Incredibly, he has more than surpassed all the great predictions made about his career. Recently, I had a chance to talk to Potvin about his illustrious stint in the NHL. How tough was the rookie year?
Well, I look back on it as being a real test for me because, as I say, I felt a lot of pressure, but I think a lot of it came from me. You know, I wanted so much to succeed that I made it a point to worry about it, and consequently create an atmosphere whereby I would work harder than I wanted to work for the games. But all in all, it was after the rookie year that things seemed to get tougher.
4 cups. Where did that rank in terms of personal satisfaction?
Well, that was the best. I mean, I think it's very hard to compare anything that happens after the first cup. That, to me, was the greatest moment of my life, because you don't know that we're going to win more cups, although I had every confidence that we could. There's no way that I was going to let that moment escape. And when I tell you, the feelings and the emotions just rose right from the depths, you know, and to a point where I just didn't want to face anybody. I just wanted to go out and enjoy it on my own. And that meant shedding a few tears. It meant hugging and kissing a few people who were very close to me, and just really relishing the moment. The following cups were all very special, mind you, but different.
What about the 4th one?
Well, that to me, again, would rank a close second to the first one.
Why?
My dad was dying of cancer, and it was very special for me, you know, to bring that cup home to him.
The 1980 final against Philly, opening game in Philly, overtime. To me, that was the catalyst for all the good things that came later. Tell me what you remember about that game, that goal.
I can't think of that game without thinking about the one I scored on Billy Smith in the first period. And if you remember, there was a bit of a scramble in front of the net, and it was a 0-0 game. And in my effort to try and freeze the puck or do something, Billy had stopped the first shot. The rebound came to me, and I felt the presence of all of these flyers around me. And I thought, if I can just slip it back underneath Smitty's pad, we'll put an end to the play. Something we had done many times before. But this time, Smitty was on his way up, and I slipped it right past him into our own net, and it now made it 1-0 Flyers. And then we went into the overtime, and I'll never forget being a little surprised at the penalty call called on Watson, but then again, it was a flagrant infraction. I mean, there's no question about it. I'm playing the right point, very early into the power play, a few seconds, I think, into the power play. And they're fighting behind the net, and John Tonelli surfaces with the puck, skates around the back of the net. Well, at this point, I just take a quick look, and all I see is open ice. Now, to me, that just looks like a big white sheet, you know. There's no dots or anything, and all that means is that there's open ice. So instinctively, I move into the open ice, and then I just yell for the pass from Johnny. Johnny made a beautiful little pass on my stick, and I just shoveled it past Pete Peters. And I tell you, at that moment, I looked over, and Johnny was already about 4 feet in the air, and, you know, just elated. And we then realized, you know, what had happened. We'd won that game that we needed so badly.
One of the most extraordinary aspects of your career, apart from your playing accomplishments, is the control that you showed game after game with the Garden under the hail of, you know, that to me was amazing.
Well,
was it hard?
Yeah, very hard, sure. And it's scary and still is. I mean, it's not pleasant, you know. I think that if you abuse me, you can go ahead and do all you want, but it got worse than that, you know, and it became much more personal.
What's your farewell message to them?
Well, I think I would say thank you in many ways, because it made me deal with my marital problems a lot quicker than normal, so I was able to save on the psychotherapy fee. They made me come to grips with myself a lot quicker, but I think that all in all, if they keep up the chant forever and ever, it's going to make me somewhat of the greatest anti-hero that ever entered the Madison Square Garden. I guess that's not so bad.
But the story's not over yet. Islanders face off in the playoffs Wednesday.